What is up, you guys? Back at it with another video. Today's video is not on my new Fiat 124 Spider. It is on my old 2001 Dodge Caravan camper conversion. This van has snuck into a bunch of videos, a bunch of Instagram posts. You'll see like the Grom in the back of the van. The van's just kind of always in the background, and it always leads to people shooting me DMs asking about this camper van. So today I'm going to give you a full deep dive into it and show you what I built here. For starters, this van, like I said, is a 2001 Dodge Caravan. It is not the Grand Caravan, standard Caravan in a nice champagne color. There's a light bar on the rear, Thule, however you pronounce this, awning here, some rain guards, and a light bar on the front. That's the basic kind of rundown on the outside of the van. There's aftermarket Z Racing wheels that the previous owner put on there. They're trash. They're like not special. And some decent enough all-season tires that's got some good tread on them. Actually a really good tread life left on the tires. So that's why I didn't switch the wheels and tires, because what's on there is actually pretty okay. Vanity tag, pun intended. Let's go in the back here and I'll show you what's going on internally. Okay, so for starters, the gem. Twin size mattress, fun bed sheets. There is generally a comforter that goes on it. It's just in the wash in the house. Obviously a twin size bed is intended to sleep one person, so it sleeps one person really comfortably. I don't know why I had a hard time saying comfortably. It sleeps one person really comfortably. I can say that word, I promise. And it can sleep two people okay. You're not gonna have a wealth of room, but two people can sleep in it. It's doable, it's fine. We did it in college, you know, we can all do it again if we're living in a van for a little bit. A twin size bed is designed to have one pillow on it, so obviously running two pillows for two people won't really work with standard pillows, so I ended up just running couch pillows. I think they're inside the covers. I do have the matching pillowcases for these that are for a twin size mattress, so if you're kind of like texture shy and you don't want to put your bare face on this, there are the other pillowcases inside of there, clean and ready to go, so you can just throw them on there, put your face down, get a good night of sleep. This is a little neck pillow I got. It was cool for sleeping in cars in the past, so I just got one for in here. So if you want like some extra padding or whatever, you need it up in the front because you're doing a long drive, whatever. Never hurts to have more comfort, right? As far as temperature control, for heat, there is a Sub-Zero sleeping bag that I have, so we'll use that if it's really cold and we need to kind of keep warm. But honestly, it's already pretty warm inside the van, so it was never an issue. The simple comforter and being clothed was a-okay. For the big trip the van just did, just to kind of cover that, I just took the van, we went up to Arkansas and then over to New Mexico, down into Texas, all the way to actual Mexico, and then kind of traced the bottom of Texas, like riding the border up into Austin, and then back home through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, then back to Georgia, and the van did flawlessly. The only issue with the van that came up was the AC stopped working. It turns out it's just the AC compressor, but that stopped working in the middle of Texas in April, which is pretty hot, but windows down, it was okay. It wasn't the best thing ever, but scratch and survive, right? But as far as it getting hot in the back of the van, it definitely did that in Texas. And the way that problem was solved was by these USB rechargeable fans. I made these little like lassos, holster situations with just zip ties on the seatbelt hardware. It allows the USB rechargeable fan to pop in. This is much easier to do two-handed, but I'm holding a camera. But that slots in. The cool thing about that is it allows you to use the seatbelt to change the height and kind of get it wherever you want it, blowing on your face or not on your face, above you, whatever. There's one there, one here. The idea was two people sleeping in bed can both have it. There's another lasso there and the ability to put one there if I wanted, so we could run 4 fans in here. And then I have a little S hook there and another lasso up there. So all of those positions are places that I can position a fan and kind of get some air on me, and it's a-okay. Speaking of kind of comfort, these guys are obviously the normal side panels for the van. I left those in because they kind of act as nightstands. You can have a little drink there. You can put your cell phone on the back. You can throw your keys, wallet, pocket knife, gun, whatever it is you have to sit down at night when you take your stuff off. You can sit it in here like a nice little EDC shelf. There's one on each side, obviously. I don't know if you can see that one. And I hate to disappoint all my Instagram followers, but the plant is fake. I didn't want dirt falling in my van, so I went with the fake plant because having a plant in here sounded really cool and I really liked the idea, but I didn't want dirt falling everywhere. So this guy is fake and he hangs out in the cup holder there. And then you can't see it, but the other one there has a little cigarette lighter style 12-volt charger, so you can charge in the back of the van if you want to as well. And then this one here has another little cubby if you want to store some stuff away. Right now there's a jack in there in case I have to fix a flat or anything. I have my jack and my plug kit in there stored away. Moving down to the bottom, this is where kind of like the hard work happened, I guess. I was really adamant about not drilling any holes into the van itself. I don't want to create any new holes that made anything like any smells weird. Like I've seen so many people that drill into the floor of their van and then exhaust gets in the van and then carbon monoxide, big problem. So no extra holes in the van. What I did was I got some of this 1x1 stock and I cut it up into little sections, and then I gutted the entire back of the van. I took the seats out, I took the carpet out, I took the sound deadening layer out, and then I deep cleaned everything so the floor is like spick and span and sparkly. And then I used 3M adhesive to put some of these 1x1s down on the floor. There's a bunch of different spots that were all the exact same level, so I put a section of 1x1 in every single one of those spots. And then I use that as my anchor point to drill the floor into. So if you look at the floor, you'll see a few spots where there's screws going in. Those are going into the 1x1 floor rails, I call them, not the van itself. And it's really rigid. To kind of show that the 3M worked really well, I wanted to kind of have a demonstration, so I set it up. This is a 1x1 that's drilled in with actual screws, and you can see it has a little bit of give to it. It wobbles around, but it's secure. And then this is the one that's in with 3M. As you can see, it doesn't move at all. It's a way better fit. So surprisingly, the tape was actually better than the screws. But the floor drills into those, and then these top ones are there just to kind of keep the cubbies from moving around so everything doesn't just slide around. Originally, I thought I was gonna run 2 of these cubbies, just big things I got from IKEA, but I figured you could have 2 people worth of clothing in it or whatever, but they were just kind of too big for anything I needed to carry. When I tried to put some clothes in there, they just all fell to the back because I'm generally a bit of a minimalist, and every single article of clothing I own could probably fit in this cubby, and that's way more than I'll ever bring on a trip. So this ended up being the dirty clothes hamper, the kind of assorted hamper. At one point there was a wet towel and like a grocery store bag. It lived in here. This was kind of like the catch-all for stuff. And then these became the clothes hampers. You could set it up to where you have his and hers, or your shirts and your pants, or your shirts and pants and then your underwear and socks here, whatever. But there's 2 cubbies with wood floors in them, like sections of the floor I cut and just dropped in there to make them heavier and not slide around and make them more rigid. So that way they're not collapsing upon themselves. And then another guide rail there, as I showed you, to keep them from sliding too much. There is a 3rd one of these that I ended up taking into the house. I had it right there for like any chips we may have or cookies or like dry food, you know. It was sitting in that little gap there, but I needed a cubby in the house, so I took it out of the van. It lives in the house now. It is what it is, right? The mirror there is drilled into the side of the sink I built. We'll go talk about the sink in a second, but it's drilled into the side of that, and the bungee cord on it is just so it doesn't tap and make noise. It's completely safe. It's completely rigid there, but the bungee cord just takes away that really annoying tapping noise. The cool thing about this mirror is it oscillates and extends, so you can kind of get it over the bed. You can get it that way. You can pull it out here and sit here and look in it. Like, it's a great mirror. It wasn't very expensive at all. It was another IKEA find, but happy with that. It bolts onto the sink, like I said. Speaking of which, let's go look at the sink. But before I look at the sink, I want to kind of tell you about the ceiling here. Got 2 pod lights here, one here, one down there. These work by just simply touching them on. 1 is full bright, 2 is dim, 3 is off. 2 of those that run on AAA batteries. Those are the lights that we actually use if we're in the van. Van's closed. If you're in the van and the doors are closed, these channel lights will turn off. They're only on right now because I have the van door open. If I were to close the van, which I may later in this video, those will turn off. So the 2 pod lights work as the interior lights when you're closed in here. These are more so like we're at a campsite, we're brushing our teeth, washing your hands, you're getting dressed, whatever it may be. You need some bright light. You fire those big boys up. The original owner pulled all of the headliner out, so it was just kind of like Some foam was still there. There was a bunch of stickers their kids put on it. They wired in a bunch of really bad lights, so those wires going everywhere. And I just tidied all that up. I cut away some of the extra insulation they put in that was just kind of really ugly and gross. I took out a bunch of the lights. I cleaned up all the wiring for anything I kept. I put in my own lights and just kind of kept it really tidy. I had originally planned to paint this white just to kind of make it brighter in here, but just never got around to it. The big trip I was talking about was kind of ever approaching and I didn't really have the time to do it. Maybe I still will, but probably not. These guys here are, what is it called? Matte or foam core board, foam core board from Michael's. We got that, just like a hobby store. It's cut to shape and then wrapped with some tape on the edges to just make sure it completely fits tight in there and doesn't let any light out. So if you're in the van, lights on, all the doors closed in the dark, no light escapes. It's actually completely light sealed. There's two on the sides that live in there, on either side that live in there full time. And then there's one for the back window here. Obviously when you're driving, you need to see behind you, so it's not in all the time. It is right there. You can get it from the side door over there that will open in a bit, or kind of slide it out by getting the cubbies out the way. And then that one fits right in here perfectly. There's some extra tape here just to make the seal even better when that one's in, just to make sure no light gets out. But yeah, that's it. Like I said, it's comfy, it's cozy, no light escapes in the dark, so you can kind of stealth camp anywhere. You can park at a grocery store. As long as you're quiet, nobody's gonna know you're in there. But moving on to the sink now. Here it is. I built this off-grid sink completely from scratch. I'm really proud of it, honestly. I saw somebody else kind of build a sink from scratch that was completely different, and I was like, oh, I would do that differently like this, like you always do when you watch a YouTube video. The only difference is I actually went and did it. This is the dish rag. It is on a little S-hook here to a zip tie, just so if you wash your dishes and this thing is wet, it drips into the sink, not on your bed sheets or whatever. Originally, I bought a USB rechargeable electric faucet, but I was kind of worried about how many things we're gonna need charging, like cell phone, GoPro, 3 fans, all the stuff. So I ended up going with a manual pump one instead. Just push down, you get some water, and it goes down here into this little guy I built. That is your fresh water. It has 5 gallons on board. You can buy a standard 5 gallon at any grocery store, or you can just refill this one for cheaper than buying the plastic container. I built this little lift here, like little step up. That way we have what we call the garage here. It has a little rag in it, so if you spill any water, you can dry it up. Some extra oil for the van. The van doesn't burn oil or anything. Okay. Somebody bought a Camaro and is doing burnouts, I guess. Cool, you guys heard that? You heard it here first. The neighbor has a Camaro now. Like I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, is the van doesn't burn oil, but I'm a paranoid individual. I was worried that something may happen, so I just bought 2 different kinds of oil that were on sale. They're both the right weight, but they're 2 different brands. They're in there. I've got the tape that is on those little window covers there in case we need to beef one up, we need to make it stronger, we need to patch a little hole in it to make sure no light gets out. Keep the tape on hand. I got more silicone. I used a lot of silicone on the sink, and just again out of paranoia, I brought extra silicone just in case. There's the drain stopper for if you want to fill up the sink. For whatever reason, you can put the stopper in. A little razor blade because you never know when you need that, and then some crazy glue in there. When I end up selling the van, all this stuff will probably go with it. That's kind of why I'm showing it. I'll use this video as kind of a double down. I can show my YouTube subscribers and I can show potential buyers, you know. We went with the solar heated camp shower. It's pretty cool. It's not the greatest shower you're ever gonna take, but it does the job. If you leave it in the sun for 3 to 4 hours, it'll heat up enough to take a hot shower. You just hang it off of I can't do this with one hand. You hang it off of a tree or something, and then this little guy has an on and off, so you can just kind of wash yourself. There were no trees in the desert on the last trip, so we ended up just sitting it on the top of the van here, and then you just take your turns kind of spraying yourselves. That's there, tucked away if needed. Some multi-surface cleaner here, standard disinfectant. Get that bad boy in there, and then some paper towels to clean up. These are the sunshades that go in the front window, obviously, so you can keep the sun out, keep it cool in here, and get some privacy. We'll get to the front in a second, but just wanted to show you those because they're right there. I really like this whole little lip setup because it allows this thing to poke out just enough to kind of act as a standard faucet. I did all the measurements to make sure it would raise out exactly this much and not more, not less, just enough to get your hand in there, but enough to not actually touch the counter. Bungee cord goes around here to a little anchor point just to keep this thing from moving around. It's pretty secure in there with the way it's set up, but I wanted it as secure as possible since you are driving down the road in the van, you know. I never close it, but you could close this off if you wanted to make sure it wasn't going to leak. If any drips get out, I don't really mind because they fall into a sink. Got some soap in there. Originally my plan was to have, it's not there anymore, I brought it in the house actually, but I had a little glass like soap dispenser here. It was velcroed on and it just wouldn't stay very well, and then I tried double-sided tape. That didn't work very well, so I took it out. The plan is kind of excuse me, hold on one second, drink. Ooh, this stuff is delicious. Okay, back to it. So the plan tentatively is to get a different soap container, like a little hand pump soap container that's made of plastic, so that it'll attach to the counter a lot easier. But for the time being, I have a bar of just soap in there. It's what is the name of the soap? I don't know. I don't remember the name of the soap. Dr. Bronner's all-in-one peppermint soap. It's in there. Just wash your hands, whatever. You can see that the van door has been open long enough where the light's timed out, as I was talking about earlier. But the sink only required a single bead of silicone to seal it off, but I went really hard on the silicone just to make sure there's no way it could leak. And I did the same on the bottom here. So this sink definitely is never gonna leak. I know I didn't need to use that much silicone, but I really overdid it because I wanted to make sure there was zero chance I was gonna be driving along with water dripping all over my wood floor and whatnot. So the sink is tested, 4,000 miles, 2 months total that it's been getting kind of used, and it will not leak. Sink is solid. I like it. But moving up to the front here, standard 2001 Caravan here, honestly. I went with some really tacky seat covers just because they screamed van life to me. They really gave that like Volkswagen bus vibes from the 70s. I went with the sunflower steering wheel cover just because why not have fun with it, you know? Like, there's no way you're gonna try to make a serious Caravan, you know? So I was kind of silly, had fun with it. The original owner had kids, as I stated probably a couple times now, and they put this little Deadpool here. It's like glued on, and I figured why the hell not just leave it on there? I'm gonna hope that the day that comes, when the day comes that I actually sell the van, that the owner will also agree to leave the Deadpool on there and it can just kind of be like a running thing. If your phone runs on USB Type-C, there's a charger here. If your phone does not run on USB Type-C, you can move this into the back of the cell phone like holder there, and that is a wireless charger. That way you can charge your phone still no matter what. As long as it's modern enough to have wireless charging, you are good to go there. And you can use that phone holder to like look at your directions if you're using sat nav. This does have Bluetooth, but admittedly I cannot figure it out. So I just got an aux cord. You got regular aux and USB Type-C aux. If you're running an iPhone, sorry, this cable is not going to work for you, but I believe you can run your standard USB to Lightning cable here to still listen to your music. 2 cup holders, hand sanitizer, face mask there, and then in the glove box I've got the carbon monoxide detector. I really like the smart sensor because you can either leave it on all the time and kind of continually get a read, or you can turn it on and just get like a quick read to make sure there's no carbon monoxide going on. I tested it with the van off. I tested it with the van on, AC off, AC circulating internal air, like every way I could, highway, back roads, just try to create carbon monoxide just to make sure that it was gonna be good. And it always read 0, so we're good to go. And these are little seatbelt covers that came with the seat covers, just kind of decorate everything the same, but I felt like they got in the way. Whoop, I threw that one away. I felt like they got in the way of the actual seatbelt working. Where the hell did that go? Well, it's gone. I felt like they got in the way, so I didn't actually leave those on. I threw them in the glove box, and by them, I mean I threw them in the glove box, and I took it out in front of you and threw it on the floor, on the ground. Yeah, that's it for the front. Not too much going on up here, really. Kind of basic van stuff here. Nothing really to show you. Getting gas station chips and snacks and cookies and whatnot, the door panel ended up becoming like the temporary trash can until the next gas stop, because the van doesn't actually have a trash can in it. When it's in like travel mode, we'll call it, the Big cooler I have sits here so that if you're driving along, you can reach in and get a nice cold drink. I usually just get a cup of ice from the gas station, like drink dispenser, to kind of top it off, dump some water out, add some more ice. For the whole 7 days, 3,500-ish miles from the last trip, it kept the drinks pretty cold. So no complaints there. When I do sell it, I'm not going to sell my cooler, so whatever. Somebody that buys it can put a cooler there and kind of do the same thing. It worked. The other option is get like a Dometic little actual electric fridge so you can have like even better situation. That was my goal, but building a van gets expensive really quick, and then buying a $5,000 to $1,000 refrigerator just didn't seem like something I really wanted to do at the time. So the cooler did its job, but let's move along. Let me find that thing I threw on the ground. Throw you in there. All right, let's go to the other side. There's nothing going on in the driver's seat. You just saw that, so we'll skip over that and go to the entry of the van. That is a mobile urinal. I just thought it was silly, so I bought it on Amazon. You could feasibly pee in the van if you wanted to with that, but do not recommend. Just looking at it, the edges on the lip are really sharp, so you could probably like cut your little willy boy there if you needed to. So if you absolutely got to pee in the van, you can, but maybe hit up a bathroom. I've got a doormat here, so there's a strict no shoes in the bed rule, so your shoes gotta come off here. The cool thing about this doormat is, or at least the little party trick with the doormat is, it's permanently fixed because I rolled back the layers and threw in some screws with washers, so it can't actually move. You don't have to worry about it sliding around. This little dude is for kind of breakfast in bed situation. You can also sit it there, put an iPad there, lean up against the back and watch movies, whatever you need to do. If you have a laptop, you can have your laptop there, your drink there, your phone there, whatever. Just kind of a handy thing. I also got at Michael's. You can see more of that wood floor there, kind of tied it in there. That charger I was talking about before, if you want to charge while in bed, you can there. Obviously the van has more little door pockets there, so lots of little cubbies and whatnot. The other light there, I think this one is, nope, it's still good. I thought the batteries were dead in it, but you know, one time to turn it on, one time to dim it, another time to turn it off. The curtain here is on macrame cord. You can kind of see right there, hopefully the camera's picking it up. There was already a hole in the van, so I put some washers behind a screw and threaded it into that hole while pinning, this is a little hook that has a loop on the end, just generic piece of hardware from Home Depot. The hook is grabbing onto a little loop that we tied into the edge of each of this, or the end of each of this cord, so it just hooks on. So if you really wanted to, you can take the whole thing off toollessly. 2 curtains, standard from Walmart, that slide on. They're blackout curtains, so when you get them nice and close together, no lights getting out of there. And on the edge here, I have double-sided tape that attaches there to kind of pin it to the wall, so again, no light is really escaping out. You can be in the van with the doors closed and all the guards in, and no light will escape the van. I feel like I already said that in this video. I've been talking for a while now. If I have, I'm sorry, but I want to double down on the fact that these little window guards we made here, they do not let any light out. If you're in the van, you can park in a supermarket, you can park in a mall. You're just gonna look like a standard Caravan parked in the mall, and it's even champagne colored. It's like the most low-key color possible. But that is my entire van build. It seemed like a lot when I was making it, but in reality, it's a pretty simple build. Like I said, 2 people can travel in it, you can sleep comfortably, you can get your clothes in it, you can wash up, you can take a shower outside of the van, you can brush your teeth, wash your dishes, whatever. There's no means to cook in here. At some point, I really wanted to kind of add, like I had an idea to build like a little flip up table here with a cutting board so that I can like have like an extra surface to put a little like 2-burner cooktop on or whatever. But the van is so small that if you cook in it, all your fabric is going to smell like food, and it's kind of a fire risk. So I'd rather just go eat out or cook outside. Generally under here, I took them out of the van because we kind of use them at the actual house, but I have 2 really nice like little pop out like chairs that I guess you would use for like tailgating or whatever. They're usually stored under here, and there's a little fold out table, so you could cook, you could like kind of set up, pull the awning out. I'll roll in a picture here actually of the awning completely deployed with the chairs under it, so you can do what is being shown in this picture right here now. And set up your little table and put a cooktop there and just cook wherever. You don't actually have to cook in the van, but there's still options. You know, you have to shower outside the van anyway, so why not cook outside the van? But for any trip this van has been on so far, it's just been a lot of eating in restaurants, getting to go and eating in the front seat, or eating like chips and whatnot while laying in the back. I may or may not have a picture of me eating some like weird chicken mac and cheese in the back of the van. If so, I'll roll that picture in, but you can eat in the van if you absolutely have to, but I prefer eating up in the front so that the bed seats are nice, or the bed sheets are nice and clean and tidy. Kind of respect it as a bed, even though it is in a van, you know? But that's the whole van build. 2001 Dodge Caravan minivan camper conversion. You can sleep in it, you can shower outside of it, you can eat in it, you can wash up, and it was rock solid reliable for 3,500 miles of driving around the country. I don't know if I said this in the beginning of the video, but I probably did. I'm gonna repeat it again. The van went from here in Atlanta, Georgia to Hot Springs National Park in Arkansas, with a quick stop in Memphis for lunch, all the way over to Dallas, Texas for more food, and then over to New Mexico for the national park there, down into Texas for the national park there, all the way out to El Paso. I'm like walking as if we're tracing the map from El Paso down all the way to Mexico, from Mexico, and like, well, first Big Bend National Park, then down to Mexico, and then all the way around the bottom of Texas up to Austin. And then we went home through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, back to Georgia. 3,500 miles of total driving in this van, zero mechanical issues. The only thing that really went wrong was the AC compressor is kicking the bucket. It did get very hot at one point, but windows down, it was totally fine. And after doing research, replacing the AC compressor on a 2001 Caravan is really easy and really cheap, so that'll probably happen soon. But it really wasn't that bad. Like, the day we were really dealing with kind of heat, there was a good overcast, so I rolled the window down, let the air hit me in the face. I was pretty solid, not too bad. But yeah, this is it. This is my van. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit thumbs up. I don't know how much van content's actually going to be on this channel, because this is predominantly a motorcycle channel, but if I do make any more van content, it'll be right here for you to check out. So if you want to see that, hit subscribe. If you like motorcycles, hit subscribe. If you think I'm funny, hit subscribe. If you think I'm a waste of space and you hate me, hit subscribe. But last but not least, have a great day. I appreciate you guys watching this. I appreciate the support. I will see you on the next one.